Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to Red 5 Reviews. After a couple of delays, I'm finally posting my review for the novelization to Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. The novelization was written by Sean Williams and based on a story by Haden Blackman. It was published in October of 2010 by Del Rey. Now, if you haven't already checked out my reviews for the first novelization, as well as my reviews for the video games Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 and 2, I'll be sure to provide a link down in the description below to where you can go and check those out. Now, a couple of things before I get started. There will be spoilers for this review, so if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, here is your warning. I would recommend maybe going to read the book and then come back and check out this review if you don't want spoilers at all. Also, be sure to stay tuned till the end because I will be revealing which review I'll be doing next. And this review will be the one that I promised that I would review after my channel passed 75 subscribers. This will be a review for the first Legends book that I ever read. And again, that will be revealed at the end of this video. But before I get into my overall thoughts, here is a brief summary. Just like the video game, the story starts off on a secret cloning facility on Kamino. It's revealed that Darth Vader has created a clone of Starkiller after the original perished on the Death Star. Now, eventually the clone of Starkiller escapes from Vader and he searches the galaxy for Juno Eclipse, but he first stops on Canto Nemoidia to free General Rom Koda after Koda was captured and forced to fight in an arena. After he successfully rescues Koda, he reassumes his search for Juno Eclipse. Koda tries to convince Starkiller to rejoin the Rebel Alliance, but all that Starkiller is concerned with is finding and reuniting with Juno Eclipse, who at this time has been serving with the Rebel Alliance. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, Darth Vader sends Boba Fett to search for Juno Eclipse to capture her and bring her back to Vader so that way he can lure Starkiller back to him on Kamino. And now for my thoughts. I have to admit that just like in my review for the Force Unleashed novel, I was surprised with this book as well. I was again mostly expecting just the game, but this book offered way more than what we got in the game. But unfortunately, I wasn't as impressed with this novelization as I was the first one. I will say though that I did appreciate the improvements to the story, like new scenes and cameo appearances that wasn't featured in the game originally. Quite a bit of the new material focused on Juno Eclipse and her time serving with the Rebel Alliance, and there's even a few scenes where she gets more interactions with other characters like Leia, Boba Fett, and Darth Vader. I was glad that we got more time with Juno in this book because she wasn't featured as much in the game, as the game spent more time around Starkiller's perspective. And this actually showed us that there's other interesting characters in The Force Unleashed 2, not just Starkiller. That gave me a new perspective of how the game could have been. There were some action scenes with Juno, and I thought it would have been cool if she was featured as a playable character, and that the game shifted between characters other than Starkiller, like Juno or General Koda. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think that would have improved some of the issues with the game that you can check out from my review in the link below. I also enjoyed the small cameo appearances from other familiar faces, like Wedge Antilles, Admiral Akbar, and Grand Moff Tarkin. On that note, we did get a little bit of insight about both Tarkin and Akbar that I didn't know about earlier, such as the connection between them, where at one point Admiral Akbar was once a prisoner and a slave to Grand Moff Tarkin. I thought that was interesting, and I'm glad that that was included. But now let's finally talk about the main character. All of the stuff with Starkiller was well written, but it was for the most part the same as the game. There were some different or altered scenes with Starkiller, but for the most part what I played in the game I also read in the book. But again, just like the first novel, they did include a few differences or adjustments here and there that I enjoyed. And just like the first novelization, Starkiller gets another vision of the future, and I like that it again foreshadowed the game's alternate ending if Starkiller should have chose the dark path. Now the question is, do I recommend this book? I'm going to say for this one, sure. I definitely recommend this over the game. There are, however, some pacing issues near the end, and it is still the same not-so-great plot like the game. But again, I do definitely consider this novelization to be an improvement to the game. Now, if you're only interested in lightsaber action, then I would say just stick with the game. The action scenes were written very well in this book, but I can understand nothing being able to top actually playing as Starkiller. Now, just like the game, this book does end on a cliffhanger. I was hoping that the book would have offered a little more closure than what we got in the game, but sadly, no. I'm going to give the novelization to Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 3 out of 5 stars. And there you have it, guys. Thank you all so much for checking out this review. I hope that you enjoyed it and hope that you found it helpful. And if you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would like to stay updated for more of my Star Wars content, if you're enjoying it, then please consider subscribing. Also, guys, be sure to stay tuned for my next review, which will be for the first Legends book that I ever read, which will be Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. That is the first Legends book that I ever read. I cannot wait to talk about it and give you guys my thoughts. But guys, thank you all so much. I'll have that review for Shadows of the Empire posted very soon. But until then, this is Red 5 standing by.